Hey beauties, good evening. So I did a video as it relates to the 11th grader who beat the guy, the 8th grader who accidentally, because now the news had brought, was showing a clipping of the video and actually gave us the rundown on what took place, and his aunt and mother came and they spoke on the matter. So I don't know, he said he was rushing to go somewhere and just accidentally stepped over and stepped on the fellow's shoe, and he gave him a thump, or we said thump. The fellow dropped, was knocked out, and while being delirious or knocked out, the fellow started to stomp on him or thump him or whatnot, something of the sort, but beat upon him to the point where he had to be hospitalized. I even saw a video of some young fellas taking the injured boy to the hospital. Commendations are extended to them. Yes, that's a good move. Definitely wouldn't want to see, their fellow classmate annihilated, killed. Over. I don't even know how to describe that. And but you have to be careful. Sometimes I hear medical doctors say if somebody is damaged, you have to be careful you lift them up, because you may be even creating more damage to their body, unfortunately. So you mean well, but your meaning well can create more problems. But they don't understand. They're youngsters. I'm wondering, where was the adults? Where were the adults? Sorry, where were the administrators? Where were the teachers? You know, because to watch, the students be carrying and there's no teacher in sight, there is no administrator in sight. I know that, to be honest with you, let me put this disclaimer in. I've heard of cases where many teachers are threatened. I don't know what the atmosphere of that school is on a general basis, but I've heard of cases where teachers are threatened. So maybe they saw what happened and didn't know how bad it was and just decided to let the students handle it. I don't know. Yes, it would be irresponsible in a sense, because as an adult, once you have underage people, you still have to take charge of the situation. I'm not saying that you must put your lives and the lives of your family in danger. I would never tell you that. But it's a part of the wicked world that we live in, unfortunately. It's just a part of the wicked world that we live in. So there's just some things we just have to do. And it just breaks my heart that they have taken out, I'm not sure what sort of autonomy, maybe autonomy is not the word, but what sort of, I probably don't even want to use the word control, but control or power, does the teacher administrators have as it regards sanctioning a student, as it regards holding a student accountable? I know that they have taken out beatings in school. That is for the more minor age group. I'm not sure with the high schools what is allowed and what is not allowed as it regards, being reprimanded, being scolded, being punished, as the case may be. Because I realize that all the principles that will help a child to become socially fit, to become a valiant man or a Proverbs 31 woman, these things are slowly being eroded from the classrooms. That a child could think somebody accidentally steps on a material product and you beat him, he could have died. And when he was knocked out, you continue to beat upon him. And the mother and the aunt said, they contacted a teacher who asked, so how did you get this number and whatnot? And it went on and on. And it's just disturbing, to see. And I see the young boys just, Lord, Jamaicans, are we going to continue to watch all of this? Let me tell you, I made a video, Yes, if we continue to watch, whether it's children on children or adults on children, watch our young people being demolished mentally, physically, psychologically, and our women. These are the two vulnerable groups. I'm telling you, God is going to open his door and come down the stairs to earth and deal with the adults who are responsible. Simple. Because it seems as if you're not listening and not hearing. Measures need to be put back in place in these schools. You see, these things where the take out of schools both know this and know that as it regards reprimanding a child. And then you wonder why you are facing the sort of monsters today. If that child, that perpetrator, is left unattended in terms of not being dealt with, guaranteed, give him another few years to see how he handles another conflict, another difficult situation, or not even so difficult. Just some encounter that that fellow considers negative and he feels defiled. So he said, I got away with beating on a child almost. He almost died, basically, because if he was knocked out, he could have almost died. The aunt said they did an X-ray and air is on his somewhere in his brain. I don't even know what that means. Oh God. Some things are best left unsaid. As the Bible says, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. Some things are best left unsaid. Hey, you guys must know what I pray. Lord, I pray you guys don't do it to the wrong child. And when I say wrong child, where it has a heavy ramifications for you guys to learn a lesson and put measures in place. I watched the news. I said, how can the students basically, deal with conflict resolution? And I smile. They need to go back in the days when they were younger, how they saw conflict resolution came about. They can ask their parents, they can ask their grandparents, they can ask some older adults. Ask them what they practice in their time over the years and how it contributed to the growth and the development of the school. I couldn't believe the question was imposed on the television there, one of the news stations there that I was watching. I thought to myself, are these people ridiculous? It just seems like you wonder if it's a simpleton pose a question. Madness. That's a ridiculous question to ask. It's almost like somebody saying they're sick and you're asking them what should they do. Should I go to a doctor or a lawyer? Indian chief. For me, what do you mean what you should do? When all of this has been promulgated and people have been speaking out arduously on it, and you're asking a question because you want to give a poll? Jamaica, I don't know. Even looking at the school that they were showing, the school itself looks terrible. It just looks, I don't know how to describe it. And I'm not talking about the students. The place needs a complete renovation. It just looks dark and grimy, and grim-like. So I'm probably not even surprised with the students behaving that way. I'm sorry to be this way. It's just sometimes when the negative attitude and atmosphere of a people, it's like it rubs off on the place. It's like the health center they spoke about where was it? Old Harbor? And you find that the people almost take on that. I remember doing an etiquette sort of a course. And, the lady was speaking and she said, do not wear torn clothes even in your home, because the spirit is almost like the spirit of the clothes, so to speak, goes into you and you look like it and you start to behave like it and your life doesn't thrive. And it is true, anytime I see people wear clothes that looks holy, they look terrible like the clothes. And I read it in a book by Napoleon Hill. I read it in a book as well. Do not wear torn up clothes with a hole and looks, or bad color and looks terrible. It's like it just, and I put the spirit, just the condition of the clothes seem to rub off on the person. The person starts to look like it. The children needs discipline. They need to be taught discipline. Bring back discipline in schools from the prep or primary or basic level. Teach people that they have to be held accountable when they do wrong. Being held accountable doesn't mean abuse. Being held accountable does not mean bullying. It is devoid of that. You train up a child in the right way, he or she will not depart from it. It doesn't mean that he or she will not make mistakes, but I guarantee you they're going to go back to their roots. They're going to go back to, because it's what they know, what was implanted and rooted and grounded in them. Discipline is lacking. What is happening is abuse, narcissism, bullying, as opposed to discipline, love, compassion, and mercy. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.